Hello, and welcome back to another episode of CharlaFootball. I'm your host, as always, Jerry, accompanied by Tomas. We just got finished watching the finals of the Euros. My bad, I'm still buzzing from the experience because honestly, it was a crazy game. And Tomas, I know you were watching it too, and it was just a lot of back and forth. And obviously, the winner of the game was the one that we all expected and that deserved it overall. But first, Tomas, tell me how you're doing and how you're feeling after watching the game.
Just chilling, bro. I mean, I watched the game with my family, so obviously it was a relaxed experience, nothing crazy, but I mean, what a match, bro. I mean, we called it. I bet on it. Scared money don't make money, but yeah. I mean, it was a great final to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the deserved winner went through. The deserved winner is Spain. No, there's no doubt about that. I think everyone expected it just because of the way they've been playing. They had a perfect run overall throughout the Euros. They didn't go to extra time. I don't think they went extra time in any of their matches. I don't think they went to penalties in any of their matches. They won fair and square in all the matches that they've played since the first opening match up until the final. And I mean, you there's nothing else to say but to commemorate and applaud what the Spain team has done, what Luis de la Fuente has done, what Luis Enrique did, like setting up this solid core of players. I mean, we're talking about players like Morata as captain. Who would have thought he would have been captain? Nico Williams now, Lamine Yamal, Rodri, who's I mean getting shouts to get Balon de Oro now this year with this win. And honestly, I think he's deserves it more than Vinicius and more than Bellingham, but that's a different conversation. Who else? Danny Olmo, who came in for an injured Pedri. Fabian Ruiz, who maybe is not the most he's not the player with the most PR, but I mean even Cucurella, who's at Chelsea, he's been shit on by the English press, but when he's in a system that there's a clear identity like Spain do have. I mean, he's been fluid. He even got the winning assist today. But overall, yeah, great matchup. And England, unfortunately, were not able to bring football home today. I know there was a lot of talk that even though they haven't been playing the most stellar football, they've been able to get themselves in this instance. So there was no surprise that even if they were to win, it would have been through individual brilliance. It wouldn't have been because of how well they've played. Because overall, they didn't play an amazing game. I think it was just those moments of brilliance, specifically from Cole Palmer, who tied the matchup. But I mean, overall, like, what are your takes? What do you feel? Anything interesting that you really saw or that stands out to you from the match?
I think that Gareth Southgate is a terrible tactician because, and I'm open with that because for me individually, maybe the teams were very leveled, but England was a team with more experience on terms of average. Having Kyle Walker, Harry Kane, having Pickford, having who was a having Stones in there. I mean, these players. Spain is a very young team, yes, but they show that they have the talent. They have everything that they need, so it's very balanced on both sides, talent wise and individual wise.
Hmm.
But England do have that. Should have had that edge of experience, going through a process where in 2018 they make a semifinal in the World Cup. In 2021 they make the final of the Euros, and again they make the Euros again. So it shocks me how Gareth Southgate gets to these instances and doesn't correct anything, because the same things that happened in those two in that semifinal and that final to him happens to him today, where he's not
Hmm.
able to adjust to the team that he's playing. He kind of has his own defensive mentality, and that's it. He has no adjustment to play a different score line or to play differently. He kind of just lets these players free flow, and that's how Cole Palmer gets his goal. Because although it is a nice build up, getting Bellingham in there, Ollie Watkins, I think, got a touch on it too. But at the end of the day, it's a moment of brilliance from Cole Palmer. Left-footed strike from outside of the box. You can't really, how would I say, you can't really train for that other than individually, which I
Hmm.
know Cole Palmer does. But my thing is this: when you're playing a team like Spain, we saw how Germany did it to Spain. Yes, Germany lost, but when Germany took the ball away from Spain, Spain doesn't defend well.
Yeah.
They defend, how would I say, slightly better than mediocre,
Yeah.
because
Little
because
suspect.
their strong suit is the ball. If you take the ball away from Spain, you delete them as a threat. And I mean, I know you noticed in the first 15, 20 minutes, the English side did not care about having the ball or losing the ball or anything with the ball. They stood back, they
They
sat
gave the
back,
completely to
they gave them
Spain.
the
Yeah,
whole thing, and Spain gets that goal in. And I mean, that's what I would want if I was an English fan. I want Gareth Southgate to have the balls. You know what? Fuck them. We're gonna go out and take the ball from them because that's their strong suit. We're gonna play them on a, how you say in Spanish, and two por two. We're gonna do them.
like
It's gonna be
back and
like, I don't care if it's back and forth. I'd rather, if I was England, I'd rather have it be more back and forth because England has the better individuals. Take
forth.
the ball from them. All these players have mostly played in possession-based teams. Like Cucurella plays with Chelsea, and then a lot of, I mean, not Cucurella, but like Kyle Walker, Stones. They can keep the ball, knocking it through the back. Obviously, yeah, put in there Cole Palmer as well. I mean, it's just he's so safe. He plays it so safe, and it's sad to see a team like England not risk anything to win a final.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it happen versus Italy. They'd rather tie and go to penalties. Today it looked like the same, like they wanted to tie and go to extra time while Spain was heading for that second goal. But overall, it's just that for me bothers me when you have a team that has, in my opinion, better individuals than your rival. I wouldn't play defensive. I'd go out there and play my best style, which it looks like Gareth Southgate hasn't even figured out what that is.
I mean, the thing with Gareth Southgate is in the last game when they played the semifinal against Netherlands, he brings in Ollie Watkins, he brings in Cole Palmer, who they're two of the best. We've already talked about this. They're two of the best English players in the Prem. And Harry Kane, right now, he's not in his best moment. In the Bundesliga, he did great. I mean, he racked up the most goals. I think he was the top goal scorer. And I think he is overall one of the best English strikers ever produced by England. But you can tell that he's carrying something. And I know we've mentioned that already. You can tell that he's still carrying that back injury, which has been happening, has been going on for the past like couple months. So give him some rest. And you saw today, I mean, his touches weren't clean. He lost the ball often. He wasn't able to hold up any play whatsoever. And I mean, at least give. I like that he brought in Ollie Watkins in the last 30 minutes versus the last 10 minutes. But I mean, Ollie Watkins could have gotten the start. Cole Palmer should have gotten the start too. I mean, you can tell that they have the energy and they have that want to be, and they deserve to be in the starting 11 at least. And they come in, and obviously not Bellingham, Cole Palmer makes a difference. But before we even get into that goal, I mean, let's talk about the first goal. Yamal, Nico Williams, once again coming up big. I mean, two kids. At the end of the day, that's what they are. They're kids. I mean, Yamal just turned 17 yesterday. Nico Williams just turned 22 on Friday, I believe. So they're still extremely young, and they have a world of potential ahead of them, a world at their feet, basically. But I mean, what they done today was just brilliant, especially in that first goal. Yamal to feed Nico Williams, and Nico Williams with the composure, knowing that he's in front of the goal and to slot it the way he did.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it was a really nice play. I mean, it couldn't have come at a better moment. England was kind of trying to get the ball back and go a little bit more forward, be a little bit more direct, and once they start doing that a little bit, Spain scores, puts them right back in, how would I say, in fear of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was crazy. It was like right in the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, so it came at a solid moment.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, we saw England pick back up, and that's when the changes came in. Cole Palmer, Ollie Watkins, which were brilliant changes from Gareth Southgate. I just think they probably should have started overall. But
I mean, I think if your nine's hurt, you don't start him. And if your nine is already in, there's one rule. There's a rule. There's a lot of rules in football, but one of them is when you're down 1-0, you don't take out your number 9. You can't. You take out a midfielder and put a second forward in. You take out any other position and put a second forward in if you're looking to go forward for a goal. The thing that, how would I say? I mean, look, he kept on Kane versus Slovenia, right?
mm-hmm.
And Kane was having a worse game than he did today. And he ends up scoring 2-1, scoring a header, because that's what nines do, in moments where it's crucial, where it's how would I say, where it's difficult to finish, they somehow just get the ball back into the back of the net. And we've seen a similar play like that in the second half. I forgot who shot, but practically Unai Simon blocks the ball. It kind of I forget who gets on the header of it. They header it, and Dani Olmo headers it off the line. And then Rice hits it out, which is like, I was thinking, if I was Kane and he was in Rice's position,
he would have put it away.
He would have put it because of the Nine's experience. You know, Declan Rice kind of just has the how would I say, the adrenaline running, and he kind of just hits it wide because, I mean, that's what happens when you have adrenaline and you don't really have the thought process of a 9. I mean, if it's Harry Kane, he's aiming for a corner. If he's aiming for somewhere where there's no people. So that's just my idea. But if Kane was injured, he shouldn't have even started. I mean, you can't give a player like Kane injured 90 minutes. I mean, he's already like, what, 32 or
something like that. He's a little older. That moment that you just highlighted right there, that was honestly brilliant from Dani Olmo. But I think it was a very important moment for Spain and mainly for Spain. I think it gave them the boost that, okay, in a crucial moment where England could have gotten their goal, they weren't able to slot it away. So it gave them that adrenaline. It gave them that little boost of confidence that they really needed to
close it out.
Yeah, to face the rest of the match, close it out. And I mean, it kind of gives you that confidence that, okay, well, in a moment where we were not at our best or we were down and England had everything to put it away, they weren't able to. So kind of momentum starts to shift towards the Spanish side. And that's what happens. They get that second goal later on. But that moment was key. Unai Simon came up big. Dani Olmo even bigger. I mean, right on the line, he saved that ball. 2 headers from Declan Rice, because I think he got at the end of the first header. The ball goes back out to him, and then he tries to head it back. And it just, like you said, he didn't have that clarity that a number 9 would. Maybe someone like Harry Kane would have put it the opposite side where he knows there was no defenders, no goalkeeper, because everyone was going to that right side of the pole. But, I mean, that's just what happens when you don't have your star, I guess you can say.
Yeah, but I mean, if Kane's hurt, start Ollie Watkins. You know, let's say you're down, see how Kane's feeling, put him in. You know what I mean? If you're in that same scenario where you're down 2-1 in this case, or 1-0, you see how he's feeling, but you don't start a number 9 that's hurt because you need him for the rest of the game. 9 should rarely ever be subbed out unless you're up. If you're losing, I don't see why you should sub out your number 9.
I agree. Now, that second goal, obviously the winning goal, an incredible piece of play from Cucurella and Mikel Oyarzabal. Oyarzabal coming off of the bench. He's also been plagued with injury. I think he's recently recovered from ACL injury. And I think just this season, or the past couple seasons, he's been really improving at Real Sociedad. I think he's the captain there. And now coming on off the bench, and I mean, he plays a little 1v2 with Cucurella. Cucurella just getting there before, I think Kyle Walker was on the right.
Yeah, it was Kyle Walker.
He slides for the ball, but right before he slides for the ball, Cucurella already gets the cross in, and an incredible finish, getting in front of Mark Guehi. And, I mean, you just knew with that goal, the game was pretty much over. I mean, the way the Spanish celebrated, the fans, the whole bench just cleared out. They want to go celebrate with Mikel Oyarzabal. And it was the last, like, what, 10, 12 minutes of the matchup? So,
yeah.
Overall, I mean, just an incredible piece of display. And I saw a funny tweet saying that Cucurella had an incredible tournament, right? Obviously, a lot of memes have been thrown out by English press before the Euros, and especially now, a lot of people have been giving him stick because he's been starting, and people don't think he should have been starting. But yeah, so like I said, Cucurella has had a lot of stick, and today he's came up big. I think Chelsea paid 65 million for him when he went from Getafe to Chelsea. I think he was at Getafe before. I don't know what other club he was at, but I saw a tweet saying that if Chelsea didn't buy him for 65 million, they would have bought him for 100 mil probably now after this tournament that he just gave, because I think he was one of the most crucial players for Spain at left back. And even though Grimaldo has had a better season, Cucurella, I think he's completely just like the PR on him is going to be completely different now moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's incredible. He defends so well. He's everything a left back should be. He can defend, he can assist, he crosses well. I mean, I wish he was Mexican because But yeah, and overall, he was one of the highlights of this tournament. Even my dad was calling it out. Like he defends very well. He has a lot of intensity. He doesn't give the right winger or even any forward the time to think. I mean, he's even pressing in the midfield in instances. So he's one of those players that just play for the badge. That
Overall, sorry,
they sacrifice themselves. They sacrifice themselves so much, and it's incredible.
yeah, that's what I like about the Spanish team. All the players that they have in their squad, they've sacrificed themselves for the badge, and they've shown it while playing beautiful football too. It's not like some Copa America ball where we're seeing these players going for crazy tackles. Like these players know how to play and they understand the system that Luis de la Fuente is trying to put in. And I think most of these players have grown with Luis de la Fuente because I saw a stat saying that in 2015 he won the U17 Euros, I believe. Let me double check. But he's done a lot of things within Spain. Yeah, he's the first manager to win the U19 Euros, the U21 Euros, the Nations League, and now the European Championship. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he's probably seen some of these players grow. So that's why he's probably brought some of them. But I mean, this team, from the players, from the coaching staff, from the fans. I mean, it's a special generation. I don't know if they can replicate what we saw between that golden generation of 2008 and 2012, but it's looking very similar, especially when you have Rodri at the base, Gavi and Pedri, Yamal, Nico Williams. I mean, there's the possibility that they can replicate something special here.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from, and they have a deep bench. They still have Pedri and Gavi on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they also have, Grimaldo. Imagine Grimaldo could start. Like half of these players can start. I mean, you still have Joselu on the bench, Ferran Torres. I mean, Joselu, I'd say he's on par with Morata right now because he did have that stellar season with Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but he is older, so he's probably not gonna how would I say, be as competitive in 2 years
Mm-hmm.
because he is going to a weaker league. We know that, but other than that, this Spain team, it has depth, and I mean, comparing it to Copa America, this Spain team is very much like in a Copa America team with intensity, but just without the shithousery, without the brutal tackling, or without laying on the ground for 45 minutes. But that's pretty much. I mean, Spain has the intensity of a Copa America team right now with the talent and development of a European side.
Yeah,
That's really
no,
why they came out on top.
and it's just insane to me to see like Spain in another final. I mean, we've seen Spanish teams. I don't know how many finals they've played. Like not just like this the Spain international team, but the clubs too. They're always in the final instances of the Champions League, of the Europa League, for example. And I saw this stat saying that since 2001, Spanish teams have played in 27 major finals: Champions League, Europa League, World Cup, and Euros. And there has been a Spanish winner in all 27 times. So when Spanish teams and Spanish players and Spanish clubs, they get in these instances, they know how to handle that pressure. They know how to face that pressure. And I think that's one of the main differences between England and Spain right now. I understand that a lot of people say that England has the better league because of the competitiveness from 1 to 18, or I mean, after how many teams there are in the league. Um, but when it comes to the points where it really matters and it's winning the final, winning trophies, the Spanish Federation, the Spanish players, Spanish clubs, they know how to get it done.
If the Euro was a league, I think England would win it. But it's not a league; it's a tournament. It's a knockout tournament. You have to
Mhm.
win this game in the head-to-head. You have to win it. So, I mean, I see where they say that England has a better league because they do have more depth. I mean, on the bench, they have players like you still have. I mean, Ramsdale. He had a pretty solid season. You have Kieran Trippier. You have Trent Alexander-Arnold. You have. I mean, well, Cole Palmer and Watkins coming off the bench. Even Ivan Tony is very he's a very solid player. So I see where they say this. They do have a better league. Yes, maybe if the Euros was a league, England would win because they have the better depth.
I don't think they would win with the manager that they have right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's because how would I say this? In a league, it's only a 90-minute games. Not every game. I'm pretty sure Gareth Southgate would have been very happy going out with the tie today if it was a league instance.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's pretty much what you get when you play league. That's the difference between playing league, and playing a knockout phase. In the knockout phase, you play to win. You're playing to win. In a league, you could kind of see how the results line up. Kind of how you can see here in the group stage, you can see how the other results line up and how it would hurt you or how it works in your favor. But here, you have to win. It depends on you and the other team. That's it.
Yeah,
And in those instances, England has never proven themselves since 1966. Obviously,
yeah.
it's the World Cup.
With
And
this
it's
win, sorry, what were you saying? Finish up.
I just said it was sad. That's sad.
I mean, with this win, I think it just proved that Spanish football is superior to English football in the sense of just play style and the way they can just get the job done. Like I already said earlier, they just have this idea that England just haven't quite found yet, and I think that has everything to do with the manager because players they have, and they have a shit ton of them, and these players play for the best clubs in the world. There's no doubt about that, and have won almost everything that you can as at club level. Now it's just time to show it at the top level, and I don't think that they're far off from it. They just need to hire a coach that is competent enough and honestly good enough to get them to that instance
Look,
which
honestly,
Garrett Southgate has done. Just real quick. Sorry, Garrett
yeah.
Southgate has been the only coach to get him to these instances, but there has to be a better coach that can get them there, but also get the job done.
I think it says a lot when you have better coaches coaches who are better, in my opinion, and have better resumes in your league than that are your head coach. I mean, look at this: like Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola. You have Unai Emery,
Mhm.
coaches like of this caliber. I mean, even now Arne Slot. That why don't you pick them up for national team? I'm telling you, Klopp could have made miracles with this team. Pep Guardiola could have probably won. These two managers could have probably won it, playing with their play style, and because I mean, a lot of the players are obviously English. Even Unai Emery, I think tactically he's probably better. He would have given a better performance today than what Gareth Southgate gave us. I mean, you have better coaches in your league than on
Mhm.
your national team. Is it like what is it? How would I say? Is it more important to try to win with an English coach than to secure a win with the foreign coach for Englishmen?
I
Is
don't
that
think it
really
should
important?
because at the end, all that should matter is getting the result and getting that trophy and football finally coming home. As an English person, I'm sure that's all you want.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would want if I was an Englishman. Maybe there's a sense of pride in winning with the English coach, which I understand for sure. But I mean, football has evolved, and obviously the nations with the best play style are, like Spain. I mean, Netherlands have a really attractive play style. Yes, a lot less effective, but very attractive as well. I mean, even the Germans have a nice play style. I mean, you saw the display that Germany put up in this Euro. I mean, there's just so many more nations that produce coaches that play attractive with solid players, like Spain, like Netherlands and Germany that I've just mentioned. And there's no reason that you should have better coaches in your league, in my opinion, than in your national team.
Yeah, you should always want the best for your national team at the end of the day. Now, on the topic of that note, do you feel like if England want to finally get the job done and bring football home and they want to be a serious footballing country internationally and stop being a meme in social media? Because you see now everybody's talking shit about England. Everyone's posting memes. Saw Bleacher Report talking badly about them. All these influencers that are not English, but they are talking about them. I even saw some English influencers saying that they didn't want England to win just because of how cocky the English people are. Um, with that being said, do you feel like they should be moving on from players like Kyle Walker, like Harry Kane, and ultimately the coach Gareth Southgate?
Um, okay, Kyle Walker. The thing is, for me, when you want to move on from a player with of this caliber, you'd have to have a player that's better than him. You get me? And maybe in 2 years you could find one player, you could develop another player.
Hmm.
Or I mean, it's the Prem. Players always show up and they show out. My thing is, Trent Alexander attacks very well going forward. Yes, he doesn't defend as well as Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he would want to develop them better. But in my opinion, if Trent Alexander was just as good as Kyle Walker defensively, I'd say for sure. If they find a player with that caliber, I'd say for sure. But for this instance, I feel like Kyle Walker was good to at least finish out these Euros. I personally I wouldn't continue with him. I'd be looking for his replacement right now. Harry Kane as well. I mean, just because Harry Kane's 32. You could argue that in 2 years he'll be still a solid striker, correct?
Yeah, moving into
But
the World. Yeah.
my thing is this: he wasn't really that good today. And if I'm Gareth Southgate, well, if Gareth Southgate continues, I'm looking for his replacement as well because I need a nine that's able to perform. But most importantly for me, I think the biggest change they need is a new coach
Yeah.
because this coach isn't giving them the results that they want. Yes, he got to back-to-back finals, you could say that, but he didn't win anything. And at the end of the day, if I'm England, I'm with the mentality that, like the Real Madrid mentality, las finales no se juegan, se ganan. You don't play finals. Finals aren't there to play them. You're there to win them.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how well you play, doesn't matter how good you perform. You're there to ultimately win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very unfortunate because I think individually, whatever coach it was, whether it was Southgate, Guardiola, whether it was Klopp or who else, England would have got into this instance in the final. They would have got into making it to the final just based off the talent that these players have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
that's what got them there in general. I don't think it was Southgate being absolutely brilliant. The only brilliance that Southgate has really brought was shown in the last match with the subs and making the subs at the, I guess you can say, the right time. But other than that, he really didn't do much throughout the tournament, at least tactically. But I agree with any other coach. I mean, even if you bring in an inferior coach to Gareth Southgate, they probably would have still made it to the final because these players are just that good.
Yeah, I mean, look, England is the 5th nation to make it to back-to-back Euros.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the only nation to lose twice. They're the only nation to lose both of those Euros.
And it's sad to see from the footballing nation, the nation that created football, that invented football, and we haven't seen them lift a major trophy since, when was it, 1966?
1966. And that shouldn't even have been their trophy, in my opinion, because the goal that won them it was on the line. They just got rewarded by the ref that saying it went over the line, but it didn't.
See, if we had VAR back then, England probably wouldn't even have a trophy to this day. So
yeah, that's true.
Hopefully they can get themselves out of the mud and we can see England with such a wonderful team create history. But on the day, Spain have created history. They got their 4th European championship, the only nation with the most European championships. And they have an incredible generation ahead of them, bro, with all these amazing players. And the last question I just want to leave off with is Rodri for Balon d'Oro?
I'd say so because, and I want to say it like this: the Balon d'Oro is given to the best player of the year, not the best club player, nor the best nation player, the best player in general, the one that was able to do it in both. And for me, that's Rodri because Vinny was able to do it with Madrid. Okay, he wasn't able to do it with Brazil. I mean, he's literally so criticized in Brazil and
Rodri or Vinicius, my bad.
Vinicius. Yeah. He's super criticized in Brazil. He wasn't able to do anything with Brazil. And then, so that's my opinion. The best player should be in club, in country. And for me, Vinicius was one of the best players in his club, yes, but not in his country. Because he wasn't, I mean, this is a golden Brazilian generation as well. I mean, they have very solid players and really important teams.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 of their best players starting in the best club in Europe. So, I mean, in the world, actually. So, for them not to be able to get it done in Brazil, that's for me saying that they're not able to play in different systems. And that's just for me saying that they're overall not the best player. And for Bellingham, I think it's kind of sad because he just doesn't have the system where it shows how good he is under Gareth Southgate. And I feel like Rodri just had the best year in both club and country, although he only made it to the quarterfinal of the Champions League, yes. But he did win another Prem. He performed in and out of every match. I mean, he didn't lose a single. I forgot when was the last time Rodri lost a match.
Yeah.
Because versus Real Madrid, he got eliminated, yes, but it wasn't. So that, in my opinion, just shows you how detrimental he is for both City and Spain, winning important championships with both teams this season. So for me, I'd say Rodri, Balon d'Oro, because the Balon d'Oro is given to the best player, not to the best team. And I mean, Rodri was in both, in the best Euro team and the best player, one of the best players in that team. He was the best player for me for Man City, and one of the most important of them as well because him being on the field gave Man City, I think it was like 40, 45 wins. So
Mhm.
it was something insane this season.
I agree with you. I think out of those three players mentioned, I mean, they're the top three contenders because I can't think of anybody else that really deserves to be on that podium with Vinicius, Bellingham, and Rodri. And while at club level they have been brilliant, when you're playing at the best club in the world like Real Madrid, who have won it all and they always aspire to be that, it's not very special, really. It's like when KD went
The
to
Warriors.
the Warriors. It's like they're going to win another ring whether you're with them or not. Same thing with Mbappe going over there. They're going to win another Champions League at some point in the future, whether you're with them or not.
Yeah.
But you want to do it in the moments where it matters the most internationally. That's why Messi won the Balon de Oro in 2022 because internationally he's one of the best players. And unfortunately, both of these guys they let down their nations when it really mattered the most. Vinicius getting a dumb yellow card and not being able to play in the quarterfinal that they lost in against Uruguay, and then Bellingham. I agreed that he's now playing in a system where it allows him to be the best player. You should still be able to step up a little bit more. And while yes, he got the assist today, there needs to be something more in it, and it comes from the top. Honestly, it comes from the manager to be able to implement a system that helps all of his players, not just some of his players.
Correct.
But that's why Rodri, I think he's the perfect shout for Balon de Oro, and I don't think anybody would be mad at that. I think it's the safe option if you're UEFA. I
Yeah,
think
I
you
mean,
go.
there's a reason Pep went out for Rodri. There's a reason. I mean, Pep is. I mean, Rodgers is incredible. He's
And that's the reason he's basically taking over that Sergio Busquets role that like inherited his role, and they look the same. They look like he hasn't skipped a heartbeat. Honestly, there hasn't been like a moment of where Rodri needed to adjust, and they needed to adjust to him. It's just been perfectly slotted in, and there hasn't been any sort of hiccup really. But yeah, overall, just an incredible performance from Spain, and congrats to them. Congrats to all any Spanish listeners and Spanish fans that we got. That kind of wraps up everything. We'll look forward to the Copa America final, which will be going on in a couple hours. We'll make sure to wrap that up as well. And make sure you guys follow us at CharlaFootball, CHARLA football. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, that's back up, TikTok, and YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow our personal pages as well. And then we'll see you guys on the next one.